Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Let's go over the intro to Enter Sandman, the very last one of 4 of them. So let's check it out. It looks like this. Now the benefits to this is we are working on our power chords, we've got palm muting, and we are working on our funk guitar strumming. So let's dive right into it. To start, again, I'm not going over the second and the third pass of the intro, primarily because this first part is the one that starts the song, and this is the very last part of the intro. But not only that, the third part of the intro is the exact same as this. It's just palm muted the entire time. And then the second part of the intro is the same thing as the verse, which we are going to go over in a different video. So we're just going over this fourth part. Now, we landed on an E power chord, and that's how we start right over here. All of these notes that we're going to play, we're going to do them all as downstrokes, and that's what's going to help our funk guitar playing, is this constant down motion. So that's going to translate into our strumming as we do like a 16th note strumming pattern, basically. But we are doing a down on the E power chord. So that's 4 and 1, and then we move over here. So our ring finger is going to play the 7th fret on the A string. And as we play the 7th fret, we want to be mindful of muting the other strings. So the way that I like to do that is by taking these 2 fingers and, just kind of draping across the strings like this. I'm also not on the very tip of my ring finger. I'm on the pad of the ring finger. So that way I can mute the other strings. And that allows me to hit the string hard enough where I get that like rock and roll energy power that I want for this song. So we play the 7th fret on the A, and just practice this with me as we're muting the other strings. And now if you notice, your fingers are draped over where, potentially your middle finger is right over the 6th fret, and then your pointer is right over the 5th fret. So now we're going to do this. And we're going to do the same muting technique where once we play the 6th fret, my fingers are still laying across the strings here and just lightly touching them. And same thing with the 1st fret or 5th fret here. So let's just practice this motion over and over again and see if we can get all those strings to ring out. Here we go. All of these are downstrokes. We're pretending to hold a pick. One more time. Okay, so now let's put this all together. So we are going to start with the power chord. Then I changed the tab a little bit. This is actually going to be just an open string that's palm muted like this. Because as you play that, that's going to help you transition from here to here. And then we play those not palm muted. And then we are going to just loop this part all together. And so it's going to be like 3 and 4, and then we're going to start it over again. So 3 and 4, and 1, palm mute, 7, 6, 5, and 4, power chord, 1, palm mute, 7, 6, 5, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. And now we're just going to add this part as well. So all of this together sounds like this. So that's what we're doing here, is we're basically just taking this palm muted note, and we're also doing it right here on for and da 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 da, for and da 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 da. So now we're gonna loop this entire section, starting from right here. So 3 and 4 and 1, palm mute, 7, 6, 5, and palm mute, power chord, 1, palm mute, 7, 6, 5, and palm mute, power chord, 1, palm mute, 7, 6, 5, and palm mute, power chord, 1, palm mute, 7, a few more times, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 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 and 4, and. So we're going to do that over and over again. Then once we get to the very end, we're going to move into this this like riff lick type of thing that they do. So it looks like this. So instead of landing on the power chord as you have been over here, now we're going to move to a G power chord. So that is going to be first finger, 3rd fret on the low E. Then you're going to use either your ring or your pinky to play the 5th fret on the A string. I'd recommend, if you can, try to use your ring finger, because that way you can stretch out for like, maybe some blues stuff that you want to do later. But if you want to do it like this, that's fine too. So that's the G power chord. Hey everyone, as I was editing the video, I noticed a couple of mistakes in the recording that I made earlier, so I'm just going to reshoot this part. So the first comment that I wanted to talk about was I mentioned that you could play this power chord to help you transition to that 7th fret on the A string. In the recording, they do actually play this power chord. So they just go, and then they slide up to the 7th fret like that. So you can do it as a power chord, or you can do the open E string like that. Next up in the tab, I thought that we were transitioning to this F sharp power chord over here. We actually transitioned to it over here. I just didn't realize that. So now that you've learned the G power chord, let's go through this part. We're going to play the G power chord. Then you're going to move down a fret and lift off your first finger to get that. Then you're going to put your first finger back down for this F sharp here. Then lift off the first finger again for that. Then put it back down for here. Then you're going to take this whole shape, slide up a fret to play the G power chord. Then slide it back down a fret to play the F sharp power chord. And then play the E power chord that you learned earlier. One last thing to note with the palm muting, most of this is palm muted, if not all of it. But you can play around with the palm muting if you wanted to lift off early right here, or do whatever you wanted to do. So let's take this entire thing and put it together like and 1 and 2 and about that fast. Ready, set, go. And 1 and 2 and 3, G, F sharp, E. Let's do it again. Ready, set, go. G, 1 and 2 and 3, G, F sharp. And one more time. Ready, set, go. G, 1 and 2 and 3, and 4, and. So, this was the intro to Enter Sandman, and I will see you in the practice video.